When you live in a small space, or especially if you have a small closet, it is such a blessing to have it filled with things that you love and have them organized in a way that you can get to what you need easily. So today we are going to go through and we're going to talk about my closet. Well, hey everybody, today is the last episode of the Small Space Living series. So if you're just tuning in, we started out with drawers and cabinets. Thank you to everybody who has watched that video. It has just kind of gone above and beyond anything that has ever happened on my channel thus far. It's just kind of been a shock and a pleasant surprise. So thank you to everybody who has watched that. If you've shared it with somebody, I really appreciate it. So we started with that and then we moved on to the pantry. I showed you guys how we have kind of made things work in a house that doesn't have a pantry, and I know many of you probably don't as well. And then from there we moved on to the fridge. We talked about organizing the fridge and creating zones so you can find what you need and really minimize waste. And then from there we moved to the bathroom. I showed you my cabinet. I showed you how we don't have any drawers, but how I created some division and how I organized using thrifted finds and Dollar Tree items, and how you don't always have to have those perfect, clear, expensive containers to get this really high-end look. You can still achieve that organization by using really inexpensive things. Maybe things that you already have. So today we're going through the closet. So I'm gonna show you some before and some middle and after. If you've been around here for a while, you know that I have started doing Project 333, which is where you do 3 months wearing 33 items of clothing and then you rotate out. And I have just found that this is a formula for a capsule wardrobe that feels very attainable for me. It feels not restrictive, but it also feels like enough. And the goal is not to just have this perfect 33 number, but that's just kind of a starting point. And it's just to really look and say, do I need all of these options that I currently have? I also find that there's something really exciting about switching your wardrobe over from season to season. It's very nice for me to look at my closet and only see the season that I'm currently in. I'll talk about that in an upcoming video whenever I share my winter capsule. But one comment that I have gotten recently from quite a few people is that they appreciate how real I am and that I share the real parts of life or the real parts of whatever project I'm doing or organization I'm doing. And honestly, I think I find it too exhausting to be anything else. I think it's too exhausting to try to show the finished product all the time. We are in progress, always. And there's always a beginning, a middle, and kind of like an end for now. And so that's what I want to show you today with the closet. I had things very good in the fall, and then I really kind of struggled with my transition from my fall capsule to my winter capsule, and I've still been working on collecting pieces and figuring out where those holes are. But today, as I'm going through troubleshooting and problem solving some of these areas in my closet, I'm just going to tell you a few of the things that I have found to be helpful for organization, no matter what size your closet is. All right, so let me open the door here and I'm going to just kind of give you an overview of our closet. So I'm only going to show you in my closet, but just know that my husband has a closet that mirrors this one on the other side of our bedroom. And then in my kids' bedroom, they have a closet that's pretty similar size to this, maybe a little bit bigger. And then of course we do have our laundry closet. So the bottom of course is taken up with the washer and dryer, but we have some storage above that. And those are all the closets we have in our home. We live in a mobile home, and so the living room, kitchen is just kind of a straight shot. Of course, there's no closets in the bathroom, so we have 2 closets in our room, 1 closet in the kids, and then we have the laundry closet. So my first tip, I've talked about this in some of the other areas, but it's just don't feel like you have to use things in the way that they've always been used or the way that maybe the current storage suggests that it should be used. So in this closet in particular, I have 2 racks. There is one up top and then there's one down below. And whenever we moved in, I discovered that actually the clothes that hang on the top rack actually spill onto that bottom rack. There's not enough room, and I struggled with that a little bit. Well, then whenever I moved to Project 333, I really found that I don't even need the bottom rack altogether. So I do think that I'm going to be doing kind of a full makeover on this closet. That will be coming at some point in the future. And potentially one thing that I'm looking at is actually taking out that bottom rack altogether and just looking at how can I utilize this lower storage better. So that's my first tip, is just look at the way that it's currently organized, look at the way that the storage is currently aligned, and figure out, do I like it this way, or could I imagine hooks on the walls instead of a rack? Could I imagine drawers where there currently aren't any? Just all of these things, kind of explore your space and kind of challenge it, push its boundaries a little bit. All right, the second one is vertical space, and for this I'm talking about bins. I have a video, it's very old. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. But I actually made some storage bins using some boxes and some spray paint and some little adhesive cork pieces. And I made these bins that are up in the top. I will say, from what I remember, I used enough spray paint that I don't know that actually making the bins is any more cost effective than buying them. I really can't remember. It was a process, but now that I have them, I'm using them. And that's what I use for my off-season clothes. But again, you could use them for off-season clothes. You could use them for like hats and gloves. You could use them for extra shoes. In my kids' closet, I have one at the top that I use for when I find yard sale finds or thrift finds, but they're for the next size. I will put them up there. So yes, if you can at all possible, I think having some sort of bins up at the top of your closet can be really helpful. Also, if you think you might forget what's in those bins, you could label them, or you could choose clear bins so you can easily see what you have. All right, moving from there to the hanging clothes. For years, I have swapped my clothing out for each season. And within that, I organize them by type and then by color. So this might seem excessive, but I'm sure a lot of you probably already do this. So I will do, depending on the season, I'll do tank tops, short sleeves, long sleeves, collared shirts, sweaters, pants, skirts, dresses. Every category is to itself. And then within that, I will do kind of like white and beige first, and then I'll move through the rainbow, and then if I have any like brown or black, navy, I'll put that at the end. Again, this just helps me to easily see if what I want is there or if it is maybe dirty. I find that this is easy to maintain, it works well, and I don't spend a lot of time sifting and looking for one specific article of clothing. Again, Project 333 helps with that because I'm not having this huge inventory of clothing that I'm sifting through. But even still, I do find this organization to be helpful. All right, you know that I'm going to say it, and it's just make sure that the things that are in your closet are things that you love and things that you use. So if you have things that you are bypassing day after day, week after week, and then that turns into year after year, then you're really giving up some valuable real estate. And it's so nice to have our spaces filled with just the things that we love. This is something that we know, but sometimes it can be really hard to do. I do have a couple of pieces that are really sentimental, and it's not something that I'm going to wear, but it's something that's just special to me because it was something from childhood or maybe something that belonged to my grandma. And so I will either store those hanging at the very end of my closet row, or I will put those in those bins at the top. So I would very much categorize my closet behind me as a work in progress. I'm really pleased with the top. I'm really pleased with my hanging clothes. And then down at the bottom is less than desirable. And that's okay. That's part of this middle, like showing you where we are currently. My least favorite thing to organize, and the thing that I have the most growth in, I won't say I'm the worst at, the thing that I have the most room for growth in is papers. Like keepsakes, kid crafts, like old things, like workbooks that kids completed, but do you still want to hang on to them? Are they going to want to hang on? All of those, just anything that's paper related, don't come to me for advice because I struggle with it. I really do. So down here, I have a drawer system. It's just one of those Sterilite drawer systems. And we can only focus on one thing at a time, or at least I can. I can't say I'm going to do this project and this one and also do all of my normal mom, wife, job things. I just can't. So that's a project that's on the way. Also, what I'm looking at is I have a shelving unit in the corner of our bedroom. It has bookshelves on the top, and then it has cabinetry in the bottom. That is also full of papers. So I'm going to be looking at videos from other YouTubers and see, how do I deal with my kids' crafts? How do I organize them in a way that I keep the important things, but I can let go of some of the other things? And then this will be something that is nice for them to look back at instead of burdensome. You know, like, why are you giving me all this stuff? What am I going to do with this? So that to say, you know, that's something that I want to do, is figure all of this out. Honestly, I'd love to not even have this here. I would love to get rid of this. I think I would love to take that rack out, and then I don't know what I want to do down here in the bottom, but I just think that I can do better. So anyway, lots of thoughts there. Another thing that I haven't currently done that I really want to do is putting a hook on the inside of this door. I think there actually used to be one, and then I removed it whenever I painted these doors. They were originally like a manila kind of yellowy color, and we moved in and we painted them white to match our trim color. The trim was originally like a faux wood color, and I think it's so nice to have a hook on the back of your door. A couple of ideas that you could use that hook for, or even if you had more than one hook, you could use that for things like scarves. If you're in a cold climate, you know, just regularly hanging your scarf or a couple scarves there. In warm months, that would be a nice place for a sun hat, as long as it's got enough room and it's not going to get squished when you shut the door. I also think it's really nice to have a lovely, beautiful hook on the inside of the door, and then hang up the outfit that you plan to wear on the following day. I don't know that I'm that degree of a planner. I would love to get to the point where I do that. I think that that would make my morning go really smooth. But yeah, those are all kind of ideas that I have swirling around in my head. There are a couple of things that we've had to be really creative with just because of the nature of our space. For example, we don't have a cleaning closet in our house. So the vacuum lives in my husband's closet. He has just one rack for clothes up at the top, and there's space down at the bottom where we can just, you know, roll our vacuum in, because we don't have a linen closet, a cleaning closet, anything like that. And then another really like random, not typical one at all, like I've mentioned, is whenever we renovated the kitchen, we moved the microwave, and we didn't really have a spot for it. I didn't want it to take up a lot of valuable countertop space, so it's currently sitting on our dryer. Eventually we want to build a shelf and kind of pull it up off the dryer, but it's not harming anything there. And so when I need to microwave something, I just open the closet and microwave it, and then I can shut it right back, and it's not a problem at all. I would much rather do that than have this big appliance sitting on our countertop when I really want that countertop space to be used for other things. So again, just don't feel like you have to use things the way that they have always been. Is it unconventional to have my microwave sitting on my dryer? Absolutely. Does it bother me? Not a bit. Not at all. All right, you guys, well, I hope that you found this video helpful. I'm sorry if it's not as polished as, you know, maybe you would like for it to be. I know some of you really appreciate the realness. There will be a more polished video coming, but this is kind of looking at the space as a whole. I've already mentioned this in this series, but I think it is so important, instead of throwing out your entire space and starting clean, look and say what is working well. And you're much more likely to love your space and to have success if you start with that. Start with what's working and then build upon that. If you just scratch it and start with a whole clean slate, it's probably going to feel very foreign to you. It probably also will be hard to maintain because it's so different from what you've already done. I can already identify that the top and the middle sections of my closet really work seamlessly. It's just the bottom that needs some work. So now I can go into Pinterest and kind of problem solving and making an inspiration board with this specific space in mind. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming along with this series. If you are new, or if you'd like to refer back to one of the other episodes, I will have the entire playlist linked down below. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will be talking to you soon.